in the world of juggling, we distinguish between two different kinds of juggling. There is the asynchronous version and the synchronous version. And I'll show you how they look. So I start with the asynchronous version, and it looks like this. So I'm always alternating my hands. First I start with my right, then my left hand, then my right hand. Yeah. The difference between those two is the hand motion. And I have to throw one object here on every hand. And here I got something different. It's this. So I'm throwing two objects at the same time on both hands. So let me write that down. So we got here I will call that time. This is my right hand, and I got also my left hand. And when I'm doing asynchronous juggling, and for example I start with my right hand, then I can use my right hand, then my left hand, then my right hand, then my left hand, right hand, left hand. So here's the time, it's moving forward. And when I'm here, I just did my right hand, and then I have to continue with my left hand, and then with my right hand. And in the synchronous version, it's different. I got two things to describe at one time, so I put that in brackets, and I start with my right hand, then with my left hand, and here as well, and here as well, and my time is moving forward. So here I just describe two things at the same time that are happening, and I describe my right hand and my left hand at the same time. So and in the synchronous version I have to describe both hands at the same time. So we are looking for a juggling notation, and we will start with the asynchronous version of juggling because it's much easier to describe it as juggling in this kind of way. So what we are using is the Siteswap notation. It's notation. It's based on numbers, so juggling tricks are expressed as sequences of numbers. And what we need for that is our recipe is a continuous rhythm. So we have moments where something is happening, and we get our time moving forward. And I'll call this moment a beat. So on each beat I'm catching and I'm throwing something. Alright? And this rhythm keeps going forever, and also this time in between those beats is always the same. Alright? And the idea for the Siteswap notation, we define Siteswaps like the following. Siteswap S is an element out of N0, which is a set of natural numbers, including the 0. So 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. Siteswap S that defines how many beats later an object gets rethrown again. Gets rethrown again. If you can read it. So it tells me how many beats later my object will be rethrown. And if I'm choosing the word object here, that means I can use whatever juggling prop I like. I can use balls, I can use clubs, I can use rings, it doesn't really matter. So we also need another definition. And I will start with them so it's easy to follow. So as I told you, we express them as sequences of number. I have to tell you what I mean by sequence. So I define the word pattern. And the pattern is a sequence of numbers. And I call it S. And those numbers, I count them from 0 to p minus 1. And I say that every digit is out of the set, which I already showed you, so the natural numbers. And this is for p0 to and I also define something else. I will give an example just in a moment. I define length from S and period from S. And this tells us the amount of digits in S. So when we have this S here, the length is the same like the period. I'll use it as I like. It's the same for me, and it's because if I got the pattern, for example, 8, 6, 4, 2, it's a pattern, right? Everything comes out of the natural numbers. So this first one is an 8, then a 6, and a 4, then a 2. So it's 0 is 8, there's 1 is 6, and there's 2 is 4, and there's 3. Will be the last digit. And my period is the length, so I just count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will say my period from S is 4. Okay. I also can call it length. Sometimes I just call it P for short. Alright. So now we have to get started because I want to show you the 3-ball cascade, and we are going to find out what Siteswap it really is. Therefore, you got a small task. I will use colored dots, and you have to find out which color is happening at what time. So I use a yellow one. I say this is yellow. Right. My yellow ball, and I use 2 orange balls, and I think I got a piece of chalk for that. Yeah, and 2 yellow ones. Okay. And you have to put them in the right order. So I start with my yellow one, and this is my first row. This is my second one, which happens after the first. Yeah, you will get that. So I just start. Okay. So I start with my yellow board, and I will give you the answer to this test. I start with my yellow one, and then I have to continue with the first orange one. Alright? This is done by my other hand, but I'm just looking at the time. And now I have to throw another orange ball, and then I will throw the yellow one again. Then I have to do the same thing again with the orange, always after my yellow one, and this is how it looks. Okay? And if I start, for example, with my right hand, then I can just see that I'm throwing this ball up to here where I use my left hand. Then I'm throwing it to my right hand again. And I can draw an arc here. So this comes from here, and I throw it to here. And since I already told you what beats are, this is a beat. I catch something and I throw something. And in Siteswap, we just simply call this throw a 3. Because it tells me how many beats later my object gets rethrown again. So this is the next beat, that would be a 1. This is a second beat, that would be a 2, but it's a third one, so it's a 3. Okay, and here it's the same. I throw it up to here, so this is also a 3. And this here also. And keeps going and going. So I'm always doing 3. It makes sense because I got 2 objects in between, which I like to throw. And in Siteswap notation, we repeat the pattern forever. We just rerun it, and we simply think about it as a never-ending sequence. And therefore, we can't write it, so we just simply call it 3. Alright. Let me give you another example of a juggling sequence. So this sequence is called 3, 1, 2. And I will just write the digits in a string all after each other, continuing, because I rerun the pattern all the time. And I can look to the digit and see if this contains a beat, because I'm getting something there and I'm throwing something there. So I just see the digit as a beat. So when I'm here, for example, I throw 1, so it goes to the next beat, which is this digit. So I go here. Then I do 2, 1, 2, I go here. Then I do 1, go here. The 2 comes here again, go here. And you will notice that I draw it so that the 2 is a little bit higher than the 3, because it has to land more in time, later in time. Yeah. And this 3 is going to be here, and here, and here, and here. So this is basically a